Are you having a normal amount of sex? A lot of people get preoccupied about having enough sex. And the reality is there was a survey done recently with 35,000 people responding. And the top three answers had almost an identical number of people, the bulk of them answering. And they were 2 to 3 times a week, once a week, and 2 to 3 times a month. So you are normal if you are having sex between once a week to 8 to max 12. See, the 2 to 3 times a week doesn't mean every week is the same. So anywhere from once a week to 2 or 3 times a week for a month is pretty normal. But what's more important than how often you're having sex is the quality of the sex you're having. I will tell you, quality will beat quantity every single time. But there is a amount for every couple that is too little. And it will vary. This is not something that's, well, it is 2 to 3 times a week every week. No, what that means is the week they went away on vacation, they had sex 6 or 7 times. Maybe the following week, only once. Maybe crazy work stuff and kids, only once. Maybe everything fell into place and it was 3 times the following week. It isn't consistent. Complaining about lack of sex doesn't lead to more of it. But not allowing dry spells to continue without discussing is also a bad plan, because it's easier not to have sex if you're not having sex. And then when you are having sex, you end up having more sex, typically. So a couple of things to think about. Focus on intimacy and connection, guys. End of the day, that leads to a better relationship and more sex for both of you. 2, how much effort have you learned on or invested in upgrading your skills or learning? Because most people haven't received an adequate sex education, so focus on that. And then the bonus for anyone with small children, don't be one of those whiny guys going, my wife had a baby 3 months ago and she's still not interested in sex. I can't take anymore. Grow the fuck up, okay? The most devastating thing to your relationship and to your sex life is having a baby, okay? Plain and simple. Don't expect a normal sex life to return for a year. Now, I've known people who 2 or 3 months later, their wife was like, no, she wanted to. Great. But that's not the norm. Then you have the whole being exhausted depending on how many kids you have. So be a little bit smart here. And even if you're not having sex for a year after a baby, that doesn't mean you don't get to skip date night. You don't get to build connection and intimacy. You tend that garden, and eventually, hopefully, it will all come back together. All right? Shoot me an email. My email's down below if you have any questions regarding sex. And remember, men, it is your job to run the romance department. Have a great day.